Okay, we just watched the cutesy, frothy Christina Applegate flick, and we're going to follow that up with my show about barbaric wastelands where brutal warlords try to kill women and children. It's all part of TNT's efforts to include all members of the family all the time. I'm talking about Monstervision, where tonight's theme is post-Holocaust jamboree, featuring Ultimate Warrior, starring Yul Brynner as the only guy who can save the world, followed by Damnation Alley, starring George Papard and Jan Michael Vincent as the only two guys who can save the world. These movies were made before Mel Gibson did that whole Mad Max thing and perfected the whole Holocaust save the world hero motif.
See Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs next on TNT.
You know, I have a question about this war we're in. We're in a war, right? I didn't get that wrong, did I? Because sometimes we go to war and I miss it. Because it's just these guys in the battle cruisers, you know, having a ham sandwich and pressing buttons, you know. Okay, let's go with number 3. Southwestern Iraq is gone. All right, what's on cable? Anyway, I'm Joe Bob Briggs, and I'll tell you what's on cable right here. We knew you couldn't get enough post-Holocaust messages last week, so tonight we're going back to the dawn of post-Holocaust movies, long before Mad Max, back to 1975 for The Ultimate Warrior, which stars the best Swiss-Russian-Chinese actor ever. I speak, of course, of Yul Brynner. And then we'll go to 1977 for Damnation Alley, which stars Jan Michael Vincent, George Papard, and the Oscar Mayer Wiener truck in a suit of armor. I kid you not. This new war, here's my question. This is a strange one, because the guy we're fighting, he doesn't really kill anybody. I mean, he will kill somebody if they backtalk him or something. But what he's doing is a guy with a bayonet shows up at your house and he tells you to put grandma in the wheelbarrow and tell the little kids to stop crying because you're moving. And the people do what the guy with the bayonet says, and if they do it real nice, then maybe he won't burn down their house. So if we're going to go help these people, what might work against a guy with a bayonet going door to door? I took ROTC. I know the answer to that. Another guy with a bayonet. In fact, we're the most powerful country in the world with the most powerful army, right? So we could send 9 guys with bayonets and tell the bayonet guy to leave grandma alone, right? But what do we do instead? We decide to launch massive airstrikes. Not just airstrikes, they always say massive airstrikes. Of course, we can't launch them at the guy who's pointing his rifle at grandma because we would destroy grandma's house, wouldn't we? So we launch them at bridges and oil refineries and tank columns that are hundreds of miles away, and then Slobodan Milosevic, he captures 3 of our guys. And we say, we want those guys back. I mean, we did bomb a bunch of stuff in your country, but you can't do anything to our soldiers. What kind of war is this? You know, Clinton was making speeches about it. Give those guys back. You took 3 guys, you know, dead Slobodan soldiers all over the place. What, they captured 3 guys? No fair, we were wearing a condom. And meanwhile, Kosovo is cleared out. All the people are gone, the houses are burned, and all we had to do was at the beginning march a bunch of guys in there and say, leave grandma and the baby alone. Anyway, speaking of tough crowds, The Ultimate Warrior takes place in New York City, 2012 AD, where the plague has somehow eaten up the pavement and people kill each other for a string bean. And Yul Brynner plays the bald and beefy warrior Carson, who Max von Sydow hopes to help defend his vegetable garden and to walk his knocked-up daughter through the subway tunnels to North Carolina. Of course, it's the end of the world. Where do you want to go? North Carolina, of course. Don't try to put me in South Carolina. That's where I'm going. Let's do the drive-in totals and get it going. We have 26 dead bodies, no breaths, pigeon catching, hobo roping, harpooning, multiple stabbing, rock to the head, scissors to the throat, strangulation, death by plummeting, death by heavy thing, saw blade to the head, coat hook hanging, hand rolls, baby birthing, kung fu, ball and chain fu. I give it 2.5 stars. Check it out, and we'll be here for the whole apocalyptic experience. See this Kosovo thing? It's kind of like, it's like if Mexico said, you know, 180 years Anglo people have been occupying our city, San Antonio. We're sick of that. And so they start pointing guns at people and marching them back to Louisiana where they belong, where their ancestors lived. And this foreign army comes in to help, and they say, hey, we'll help you out with that. Here, we'll bomb a tractor in Guadalajara. Did that work? More bayonets, huh? I don't know why it didn't work. Wasn't very brave of you, was it?
Hi, I'm Rusty, the Monstervision mail girl. It's not an easy job, especially when Joe Bob says something really annoying, and I have to deliver 20 times as many letters from Monstervision viewers. But don't worry, I work out 5 times a week to make sure I can handle anything you want to send my way. Come visit me at Monstervision website, tnt.turner.com/Monstervision, and I'll show you what I mean.
See Rusty deliver the Monstervision fan mail to Joe Bob Briggs every Saturday night on TNT. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and the Ultimate Warrior on TNT.
So Yul Brynner kills 5 guys because he likes cigars. This movie was way ahead of its time, wasn't it? Why is it that I can't smoke my cigars on the show? Tell me that one more time. What was the reason for that? Oh, right, because 14-year-olds might think I was an underage smoker. Right, I remember that. Anyway, Yul's looking very king and I, isn't he, here? What does everybody remember about Yul Brynner? You know, the bald head and the King and I, right? On Broadway, he did 947,000 performances of the King and I, a record that still stands today. And did one of the cats in Cats break that record? There may be a cat that's been on Broadway more times than Yul Brynner. But what else do we know about Yul? Maybe Westworld, where he played the cowboy robot that goes haywire. I think people today think of him as kind of limited range. But you'd be surprised at the variety of things he did in his career. Like he and his first wife, the actress Virginia Gilmore, co-hosted the first TV talk show, the first one, called Mr. and Mrs. Can you imagine Yul Brynner hosting a talk show? Not exactly the warmest guy I can think of, you know? And then in 1950, he produced a children's puppet show on CBS called Life with Snarky Parker. And then Mary Martin recommended him for the Rodgers and Hammerstein musical, The King and I, where he became an instant sensation. And in 1956, he did the movie version. He won Best Actor for that, and it became his big claim to fame. And he kind of cashed in on that for the rest of his life. And nobody knew that much about him, mainly because he told all these lies about himself to confuse the public. Like he used to say he was a half Swiss, half Japanese named Taija Khan. But then after he died, his son wrote a biography on him and told the truth, and it turned out he was actually Swiss, Mongolian, and Russian. He was born in Russia. He lived in China briefly, and then he moved to Paris at the age of 14, and in Paris he played guitar for some gypsy musicians, and he was a trapeze artist for this famous French circus, the Cirque d'Hiver. So, tell me the guy has a narrow range now, after you know that. Died of lung cancer in 1985. And I vaguely remember this intense anti-smoking commercial he made that they didn't air till after he died of lung cancer. That is creepy, you know? Okay, let's go back to Yul Brynner in The Ultimate Warrior. And it was probably all those cigars he got from Max von Sydow that did it, too. That was some foreshadowing, huh? Cigars, bad cigars. Until the show is over. You know, there are a couple of you out there who followed me throughout my career. I know that because I see you lurking around in the bushes outside my bedroom. So you may know about the Find That Flick contest I used to run in the newspaper. Well, we've added it to the Monstervision website, and I could waste your time explaining all the details of it, but just check it out. Test your horror flick knowledge and win a cheesy prize. Go to tnt.com/Monstervision and look for Find That Flick. And stop following me throughout my career. You're really starting to get on my nerves, okay?
Visit the Monstervision website at tnt.turner.com/Monstervision. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and the Ultimate Warrior on TNT.
You know what's sad about this movie? It was banned in Sweden. Too intense for Swedes. You know, here they had the #1 Swedish actor in the world, Max von Sydow, and his own country bans the flick. There's no justice, is there? But we got quite an international cast here. We got a Swiss Mongolian Russian, we got a Swede, and Joanna Miles, who plays Melinda. She was born in France, but she's not really a French actress, I don't think, because, well, if she was a French actress, she'd be more pouty. You know, French actresses, they're always pouty and moody. They frown a lot. They scream a lot. Makes you want to have sex with them, you know? Have you ever noticed that in French movies, the women never wear French lingerie? They don't. They wear no lingerie at all, you know? It's some kind of trick, I think, because they only make French lingerie now for tourists. Okay, back to the flick. And I should say, I guess there were some of these movies, this movie, you know, there were some kind of plagues, obviously, that wiped everybody out. So How did the New York streets turn to dirt, though? Did they explain that? Did they run out of asphalt at the Burbank studios? What happened there? There's a scene missing or something. You know, Baron, I think I can turn this asphalt into a food source. I'll need to use it. No underwear. Pretty much standard in France. All right, if you're going to write into us here at Monstervision and share your gripes, your opinions, whatever, and you're a woman under 140 pounds, single, and you don't have any strong opinions about any of the most common vices that men have, then I want you to use my home address because it's quicker. So just send those letters. What? I cleared this. I can do this. I'm telling you, we had a 3-hour meeting about this. It's not an attempt to get nookie on TV. Well, you don't have to use that word. Look. All right, look, I'm going to have to get back to you later. But meanwhile, just keep writing to us at 1010 Techwood Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318, and emailing us at monstervision@turner.com. I like Superfly. What are you saying about Superfly? Why do you use that word? What's the implication there?
Visit the Monstervision website at tnt.turner.com/Monstervision. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and the Ultimate Warrior on TNT.
The great William Smith as Carrot. When you need tough guy sleaze, Bill is your man. Bill Smith. He's still acting, isn't he? He's still out there. I hadn't seen him in a while, but last time we had him on Monstervision was, I guess, in Hammer. He has that great final all-out fight scene with Fred Williamson in the parking garage. But Bill Smith, he's been in at least 150 movies. He's guest starred in practically that many TV shows, everything from The Mod Squad to Kung Fu, Fantasy Island, BJ and the Bear. You know, he was even on the Hollywood Squares. He's been in 80 movies in the last 2 decades alone, and all the great ones, too. Hell Comes to Frogtown with Rowdy Roddy Piper, Maniac Cop, Invasion of the Bee-Girls, Manosaurus. Bill works a lot. He was in the best wrestling movie I ever saw in my life. There aren't many good wrestling movies. He was the aging wrestler on the road in Blood and Guts. Bad title, good movie. He was Conan's father in Conan the Barbarian, which Max von Sydow was also in, as you may know. And if you watched Red Dawn when we showed it here a while ago, you might recognize him as the evil Russian colonel. So this is a real treat. We're in the presence of greatness. William Smith. Okay, go. See, he's one of those actors that you have to think would have been more famous if he'd changed his name. Because like Bill Smith, William Smith, Billy Smith, not much you can do with that, right? He basically has a parallel career almost exactly to Lance Henriksen. But Lance, he's got the cool name, you know? Billy Don Smith, that would have worked.
Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and the Ultimate Warrior on TNT.
Cal is one dead garden vegetable, isn't he? If the whole secret to preserving civilization is Cal's tomatoes, then why don't they all get the hell out and go to North Carolina? What's the point of living in a city with no open land, people crawling the streets who'll slit your throat with a pair of scissors for your clothes, and, well, actually, I guess that's what New York is like today, anyway. But these people don't have any of the benefits of living in New York, like the theater, restaurants, the topless karaoke bars. I don't really get it. Of course, they do have theater. They could always just ask Yul Brynner to sing a medley from The King and I or something, but I'm not going to dwell on that because I have my New York City subway map here, and where'd they say they were? They say they're at 29th Street, somewhere down in here. But, all right, the New York Public Library is on 5th Avenue and 42nd Street, right here. And I thought that was supposed to be the building Yul Brynner was standing out in front of, flexing his muscles there. So, what do you think, guys? Can you see the New York Public Library from 29th Street?
I don't think so.
I guess after a few nuclear explosions, maybe you can, but they say they're going down into the subway tunnels, and there's no 29th Street subway. I mean, there's 28th Street. 28th Street's over here on the west side. Well, actually 28th Street's all over the lot. Maybe it's some kind of New Jersey transit thing. You know, they got all those tunnels that only people from Jersey use. All right, I won't dwell on that. We'll get back to the movie, and I'll figure this out later. But you guys know what... You know, he was standing out in front of the library there. What are the names of those lions? out in front of the New York Public Library. I used to know Prudence and the other one that starts with a P too. Prudence and Pamela. Paulina. No, Prudence and Ponderosa. I don't know. What's the name of the other line? Pocahontas. Email us. Tell us what that is. Damn, I used to know that.
Joe Bob doesn't get nearly as much hate mail as people think he gets. I know because I'm Rusty, the Monstervision mail girl, and most of the letters I see are almost positive. I'm not counting the ones from TNT programming executives, because that's really not mail. Those are memos. Anyway, I do see your letters, and I do love every one of them. So come visit us at the Monstervision website at tnt.turner.com/Monstervision, or contact us the old-fashioned way at 1010 Techwood Drive, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318. You can even email us at monstervision@turner.com. Try to avoid phrases like lame, no-talent donkeys behind. You can't imagine how Joe Bob overreacts to those.
See Rusty deliver the Monstervision fan mail to Joe Bob Briggs every Saturday night on TNT. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and the Ultimate Warrior on TNT.
That was my favorite William Smith scene back there where he makes love to the tomato. That farmer, he had an answer. He's like the beatnik of the apocalypse. Who was that babe in the window, though, wearing the black lace baby doll nighty thing? Let's have more of her. Yowza. You know, they may not have vegetables in 2012, but it looks like they got no shortage of Victoria's Secrets, you know? Did Max von Sydow tell Yul Brynner that if he got into trouble, just ditch his pregnant daughter and save those seeds? Is that what he said? You can't say that in a movie, even if it's true. Even if Max von Sydow is doing the right thing, trying to save civilization, you can't ditch the pregnant broad and let William Smith's goons molest her and club her to death. See, that's why this movie never did quite catch on, because it is one bleak mother of a story, isn't it? Okay, oh, let's check the map. All right, let's see where they are. I'm trying to show you exactly where they are in this movie in the interest of realism. Okay, there are no subway stations on 29th Street, so let's assume that they entered that subway at 28th Street. That means that they are either on the 1, the 2, the 3, the 9, the N or the R, the F, the Q, the B, the D, the 4, 5, 6, or the ACE. Well, maybe I can narrow it down a little more later as the movie progresses. Do you know how often people rip off our Monstervision website? I'm proud of that. They want to share what they find there with the whole world, and that's what the web is all about. Of course, we get the TNT lawyers to hunt them down like dogs, but you don't know what you're missing if you haven't been to the site lately. Not just the weird beard mail, not just the Playmate stuff, not just the transcripts and the downloadable photos, but we're adding new stuff all the time. New stuff to steal, so we can sue their butts. Check it out at the tnt.turner.com/Monstervision. We don't really sue them. We get a couple of grease monkeys to rough them up a little bit.
Visit the Monstervision website at tnt.turner.com/Monstervision. Back to Monstervision host Joe Bob Briggs and the Ultimate Warrior on TNT.
Well, this doesn't make any sense. Look, they're up here at Bloomingdale's, right? That's where that last scene was. They're up at 59th Street. They're going the wrong way. They're headed for North Carolina, right? Holland Tunnel. They need to be way down here. If they're going to take Amtrak, they can go to Penn Station, but not up here in Donald Trump land. All right, this is where the movie starts to get a little slow for me. You know, too much wandering around tunnels with torches, not enough hanging guys up on coat hooks by their shoulder blades, you know? I call this the cat and mouse part, you know? Guy runs down a corridor, hides behind a pole, looks out, you know? Bad guy snaps his head around like this, you know? Pulls out his gun. Trash can lid falls on the floor. You know, guy starts climbing a catwalk. There's always a catwalk, you know? Usually there's a boiler room and a catwalk. You know, cat and mouse can go on for like 10 minutes, you know? It's all like... You know, 10 minutes of that. Anyhow, I don't really want to hold up the fight scenes we got coming up, so this is it, the grand finale of the ultimate warrior. That Melinda, though, she's pretty skinny for a pregnant gal, isn't she? She's one of those New York pregnant women, you know, the ones who look like they could pop any day, but they're still ordering salads and doing 2 hours a day on the treadmill or whatever. They got the nannies hired. They're hooked up to a beeper so they can hand the kid over as soon as that umbilical cord is cut. And they'll lose those 7.4 pounds they put on, you know? Not like Texas women. Texas women, they put on 40, 50 pounds. And then they say, well, they might as well not lose the weight yet, you know? Why do it now when they're just going to have 8 more of those little yard monsters, you know? She just never was able to reduce after that second baby, was she? That poor thing. She looks like a polled Hereford feedlot cow, doesn't she? She doesn't have time to do that thigh master, does she?
Stay tuned for more Joe Bob Briggs on Joe Bob's Last Call, coming up next on TNT. And now, Joe Bob's Last Call and Damnation Alley on TNT.
Cool scene where Yul Brynner cuts off his own hand and burns the stump in the fire. Pretty worthwhile scene, but think about that. There are 2 ways to accomplish this. Cut off your hand or cut off William Smith's hand, right? And there happened to be that convenient axe within reach while they were fighting. Who knows what else was lying around there? And the gal who just had the baby, she probably could have got up and helped, don't you think? I'm just guessing here. But that was the creative choice made by writer-director Robert Klaus, and any guy who directed Bruce Lee movies both when Bruce was alive and after Bruce was dead is all right with me. So, okay, I want to let you know that next week we have one of the finest zombie exploding head comedies of all time, Return of the Living Dead, followed by the one and only Jaws sequel that's almost as good as the first one, Jaws 2. Okay, flashback to 1977. The bicentennial is over, the shark is dead, and everybody wants one of those John Travolta white suits from Saturday Night Fever. Some of the most popular movies in the history of life came out of 1977. Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and of course, Damnation Alley, which we have for you tonight. It stars the great Jan Michael Vincent and the late George Papard as a couple of guys who hate each other for about 5 minutes till the whole world gets nuked, and then they drive the Oscar Mayer Wiener armored battle truck across country in an epic quest to reach the Mecca that might save mankind, Albany, New York. So let's do those drive-in totals and get it started. We have 250 million dead bodies, no breasts, exploding continent, axis tilting, giant scorpions, exploding military base, gospel singing, face eating, rock throwing, flash flood, axis re-tilting, gratuitous shaving, cockroach foo, hillbilly foo, and no plot to get in the way of the story. 2 stars, check it out. I'll be right here to guide you through it. And did I mention that this was a post-apocalyptic flick? That's our theme for 1999. Next year, we'll be showing only movies that have marching bands in them, you know? 2001 is all films starting with the letter C. See, we're working on 2002 because TNT says we have to have themes. We have to have theme nights. So this is post-apocalypse, also known as post-Holocaust. They call it both things. Why don't they ever have pre-Holocaust movies, you know? Pre-apocalypse night on TNT. Movies where everybody is so happy. Nobody's dying. We're happy, because nobody would watch that, would they?